Welcome to Piggypower, and we're going to show you how to diagnose and replace your window motor on your Peugeot 306. So first thing to consider is to get the door card off. If you go up here somewhere, up in the window, probably over here, there will be a link, maybe, and if not, go to my channel on how to remove the door card. So I'll do that as a separate video, because if you know how to do that bit, it's easy. Pointless me wasting your time. If you'd like to know, pause this video, go find that video, watch that video, come back. See you in a minute. Alright, so the door card is off. Super duper. Good thing to do is get your switch, whether this is left hand or right hand, and put your switch back in. By the way, you need driver's switch to be plugged in often for the passenger side to work. A couple of things to bear in mind is you need the window at the right position to unclip the motor from it. Now, if we gently peel off this cover, someone's obviously clearly been in here before. We'll try and tape some of that up because that does prevent a lot of road noise. Someone has definitely been in here before because there are random screws. Interesting. I wonder if that was me. That looks like me. That very much looks like me. So someone's done some of the work for me, if I'm honest. I'll tighten up on the frame and I'll just show you. There we go. So there's 3 fixings for the motor. Usually they are rivets. So you just drill the rivet out, you replace it with a nut and bolt, or you could use nut certs, which I've got here somewhere, which I was planning on doing anyway, which are these, really handy, or you just nut and bolt it. You can get behind, so that's just fine. There are 3 fixings on the motor, and then on the actual mechanism itself that goes beep, 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 beep. There's 2 bolts, or 2 nuts, I should say, 10mm there, 10mm there. These happen to be 10mm now, but as I say, they're usually rivets, and then you replace them with some bolts. So once you've got all that off, it's worth testing. If it's not working at all, it's worth testing. So you get a multimeter, you unplug whichever plug it is on the motor. There's only 2 pins going to the motor. You put the multimeter on there, either way around, it doesn't matter, and then you try the switch. The way the system works is it applies 12 volts in one flow of direction to go down, and another 12 volts, it switches the polarity, motor reverses, and it goes back up again. I've got the issue where it's kind of just struggling to get all the way up. So I suspect worn out motor or mechanism that's getting tired, or I've got a break in some wire back here, and it's giving 12 volts, but the ampage isn't there. So I'm going to test on that. And not bore you with it. I'm going to pause the video. It did occur to me you probably want to see the results of my test, so I've got it switched to 60 volts on mine, but anything over 12, it could be at 14 if the engine's running. Ignition's on, the switch is plugged in, got the 2 pins from the multimeter on the end of the 2 pins that go to the motor. Motor's unplugged, and I'll go up, and it gives me 12 volts, 11.53, go down, 11.53. It's not perfect voltage. The ignition's on. I would expect more when running. You could test that, or you could see what your battery voltage is compared to that. If it's massively below, like 10 volts, 8 volts, that's going to be your issue wiring. If it's anything close to battery voltage, it's probably okay. It goes down eventually, and then speeds up as it gets easier. But as the friction builds up, as the window goes into the seals, it really struggles and actually doesn't properly shut. So I'm going to try a replacement motor, as I've got one, and we're going to see what happens. That is the first thing. Get the window in a position where the green clip there, which is the runner that goes through the window, is in this hole here, so you can work on it. That's important. Now let's get you close in to see what I'm going to be picking out of here. Hopefully you can see about there. See that metal clip? Now that clip goes through a rubber bung and round the other side of the window to keep the window on its pin. There's a little pin that comes from this piece and goes forwards. If your window is going up and down, you can hear it going up and down, but the actual glass is not. That clip may well have broken, and this is just going up and down, or the cables have snapped. But you'd have to take the door card off to investigate either of those, basically. It's probably likely that your window will drop, and then you'll certainly know, and you have to stick a piece of wood in here temporarily. So I'm going to fangle around with this little thing to try and get up in there and get that clip off. It's obviously pretty tricky, and it sometimes is handy to have this slightly higher up. My hand's going to be in there, so it's going to be quite difficult to show you while I do it. But I'll have you on camera anyway, or I'll be on camera anyway. Right, I've hooked it round, so I'm going in from this angle, getting the hook behind, and oh, did that work? Oh yeah, it's in my hand. Ah, that worked better than I imagined. Hang on, I've dropped it. Where is it? There it is. So there's our little clip. Can you see that? So that goes through, clicks on the back of that, and then you push the window off, and as you just might have seen, it dropped. Right, so hopefully, sometimes it'll just kind of stay there. It might slide down a little bit. That's kind of to be expected. You could put a block of wood there, or for now, just leave it sliding down. So let's show you what's next to come off. We've only got a few bolts now. As I said, you'd be drilling these 3 rivets out, which if you've got a good, nice, sharp drill bit, it's probably quicker than me even undoing these bolts. Well, someone went to town with some washers. It very much looks like I've been in here before. Definitely. Looks like my sort of work. Greasy old bolts being used rather than nice new ones. That's fine. We need to make sure we've got no washers in the bottom of the door, because they will rattle and annoy you for every day to come. Right, so we have our motor disconnected. You'll have drilled the rivets out. I've undone the bolts, unplug it and clip it. And then you've got 1 bolt there, a nut, sorry, and 1 nut there. This releases the slider mechanism. It won't be tight. I'm just using the cheat gun. You push the mechanism away from you to get the nuts, the bolt threads out, and then I tend to just lie on its back. Be careful you don't damage the glass, and then slide it through this big hole here. And there we have essentially the mechanism. That's what it looks like. And that clip that we were trying to unclip, clip, unclip, the rubber bung of the window goes over that, and then this goes through the other side, clicks on like that. So that's what we're pulling off. But because it goes through a rubber bung, it holds it in really tight, and it goes like that. Okay, so let's get the new one out and fit that instead, because that one, I hope, is worn out and rubbish. Otherwise this was a complete waste of time. Alright, I've only ever usually fitted second-hand units to these. I've not used this company before. It does look a bit different to the stock one. It's got a slightly different fixing for the window. As you can see, it's square, but they've provided the clip, which I have seen before those. So the clip goes on and then twists, basically. And a new bung to suit on the window. So we'll need to push out the rubber bung on the window and replace it with that one. I was also worried when I saw the motor. I presume this is just a universal motor plug. It isn't compatible with what we have, but they have provided us basically a new loom plug. So before I wire this in fully, I will be fitting this onto the window and make sure it goes up and down really nicely, basically, so that, yeah, this was worthwhile. That's what I'm saying. Okay, interesting. It's like a universal section that they then modified for this. It also includes new rivets, by the way, which I've never known an OEM kit come with new rivets. So we can either use the rivets, or I'm probably going to use the original bolts I probably put in there, or I could nutsert it, but I'm not sure I can bother to nutsert it today. So let's do that. Let's put this in place, temporarily wire it in, and see what we've got. Also comes with new bolts. These come with bolts, not nuts, which is also interesting. So they're ready to go on. We need to just raise our window a little bit and get our rubber bung out, which you just push through, it just squeezes through. And that is just about, I think you can see on camera where it slots that clip through, so that's fine dandy. And here's our new bung, and we're just gonna fold that in nicely, like that. It's a bit loose, but it'll probably tighten up when we put the new piece through it. So that's a bit annoying that it's halfway up, I have to admit, which means we'll need to power this up to bring it up or down. Well, it's very quiet, that's for sure. Right, that's a bit of a better position. So let's give that a roll. Just roll with it. I can't get this plug off here now. Well, that is a really good seal. Okay, so let's wiggle our wiggly way back in, like so. Lay it down its back, fire it up. Okay, it doesn't crisscross like the original. And it goes that way. Okay, so the top one lines up straight away. Lovely jubbly. Let's just get that a few threads in. You don't want to do it up too soon. Make sure the bottom one lines up. And it does. Okay, and again, I'm not going to do them up too tight. Rather a bit of movement to be able to get that window on the bung, which it is really nicely done. So, okay, now let's zip that on. Oh, that's noisy. All right, now the square clip goes on the back of the window side, with the clip going through it, and you twist it, put it on and twist. About 90 degrees would make sense, wouldn't it? No, 45 degrees. So let's see if we can do that, because I've only got 2 fingers in there. Stop it. Need to push the window in at the same time. Whew. Okay, so it's on, now I need to twist it. Can I get my other finger on there? I think I can, and we're going to give that a twist through. Is it 45 degrees, whatever it is? Let's try it the other way. And the squeezing it is as important as the twisting it. Let's read the instructions. There are no instructions. Remove door trim, insert the lid or window regulator to the door and secure it with the hole in the position 1 and 2. Fix the glass with the pin 6. No, just secure the glass. Sure. Well, that was helpful. That was obvious, but not helpful. Right. This isn't for good YouTube viewing, is it? I'm going to sort this out and come back. Okay, ironically, as usual, I turn the camera off and I can kind of do it. It's like having 30 people watch you. Pretty much my viewer content. Yeah, it's like having all those people watching you doing it. I don't like people watching me work. Basically, you've really just got to squeeze the window in. It's about squeezing it in, and it goes click, beautifully. So there it is in, holding that window now. What we need to do is bolt the motor in and do the wiring, but I'm going to show you if you have to do it this way. It does say on the instructions, or if this clip isn't compatible, which I can assure you it won't be, having looked at the clip on the new motor. Your wiring, you haven't got much to play with here, and you need to wire this in, which is plenty of wire, I have to admit, to this. So you probably want to wait to put your motor in until you've done that, so you've got some space. You could do it with clips, you could do it with twist and tape. It's your choice, really. I am probably going to solder it in because it's nowhere near a heat source like an engine or an exhaust. So cut to frame of me showing you that I've just soldered that on. This clip is extremely good, I have to admit. Very good. What I would suggest is when you cut this off, keep this for in future. Just cause, just maybe. Maybe you have to get another one later on and this one fails and you can't get the same clip and wiring and stuff. Just keep that in a little box somewhere. Don't be a hoarder. Don't do that. just keep that clip. A bunch of other things that you keep for no reason. No, there might be a reason, so just keep this handy. I must add, you must check first the polarity. Now I know it switches polarity, but if you don't get the polarity right, this switch will work the opposite way it should. So jam the wires in, up or down, see what happens, and if it's wrong, the other way around, make a note, red to black or red to blue, whichever it is, make a note of it once you've checked the polarity, as in the which way round these two wires need to connect. Hello everybody! If you couldn't tell, the engine's running. Listen carefully. Can you hear it? Just turn the volume up a bit and just, listen careful. You can just about hear it. Anyway, wiring sorted, really nice plug, I do like that, that's fine, it's sorted. And the battery had just gone a bit low because I've had the ignition on, been doing other things, stereo and stuff. But now, oh yeah, all the way down, nice and quick, all the way up, nice and quick. Bish bash bosh, perfect. So something in here, the motor was getting tired, the mechanism was getting tired, this was getting tired. So, old motor out, new motor in, and we're golden. Thanks for watching. Piggypower. Please comment below and tell all of your friends, all 3 of them, about Piggypower. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Piggy out.